This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Sometimes the sunsets in South Africa are so extraordinary that even the leopards stop to admire them. And this just happens to be one of the world's most beloved leopards. That is Hosanna, and this is safariLIVE.
This is so exciting. We've managed to find the Sausage Tree Pride.
Look at this last dash.
This is amazing. Look at that incredible strength.
20 seconds.
Here come the cheetah. Unbelievable stuff. I'm just keeping my head on a swivel. You never know what's going to happen next in these situations.
Standing by.
Can you believe this?
Three, two, one. Live.
Good evening, Riperile, Molweni, Dumelang, Sanibona Bonke Basemzans Afrika. My name is James Hendry, and it is a huge privilege to welcome our South African audience back on board with safariLIVE. This week I'm coming to you live from the Maasai Mara in Kenya, where I'm sitting in the wind with the Sausage Tree Pride, while Tristan, Jamie, look at that, and Sydney are coming to you live from Djuma Private Game Reserve on the western fringes of the Greater Kruger National Park. Now, Tree Pride did feature last week, as did a number of other fascinating creatures.
Last week on safariLIVE. In the Sabi Sands, Steve revelled in an extremely rare sighting of a hunting honey badger. Sydney followed an avoca male with his new consort. Tristan laughed as Queen Tundi tried to teach Princess Kalamba some table manners. Up in the Maasai Mara, David found the Sausage Tree Pride and the Owino Pride males making short work of a buffalo. While Scott followed the young Owinos ghosting through the grasslands.
Now that's what went on this week. Let's hope we have an exciting week the same this week. Please do talk to us using the hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter. This is a completely live and interactive show, so we'd love to have your questions, your comments, perhaps your insults even, if you'd like to send them through to the hashtag safariLIVE. Now you might be wondering why on earth we're in black here in Kenya and not in colour like they are in South Africa, and that's because the sun has set here. We're an hour later here in Kenya, and so we're using infrared light. That will happen later in South Africa as well. Now the Sausage Tree Pride cubs are up and enjoying a little bit of playtime, which is fantastic. So I'll just give you a quick background to the Sausage Tree Pride. 5 lionesses, these 3 cubs dominated by the Owino Pride males. Now we'd spend a lot of time with predators, looking for predators, marvelling at their antics, but it's not always about the predators. Sometimes it's about the little things.
Hinda ndima dekwana avudinga manda richiko vatanganidza hafu. This is Sydney Fumunani Mikosi, and I am coming to you live from the western side of the Greater Kruger National Park, Sabi Sands Djuma Game Reserve, with my camera operator Senzo Mkhize. We are going to try by all means and get you see a lot of interesting animals tonight. Already I have got something interesting here on the ground. Look at that. This is a phenomenal sighting. I know quite a lot of people don't take the insects such as the dung beetles into consideration every day. But today, let me tell you something. These insects, they play a very significant role in the ecology. If we don't have the dung beetles, South Africa as a country, we were going to have a lot of problems with regards to the population of flies. So they help us in order to control the population of flies. And when they look at that, oh, some of them are fighting. Look at that. There's a very big fight taking place at the moment. Look at that. So these dung beetles, when some of them are busy constructing the balls, some are coming there in order to steal them. So Dung beetles are categorized according to their diet. The one who are rolling the balls now, they are called the endocoprid. So they are here in order to roll the balls and dig a hole to hide the balls under the ground. While we are waiting to see more fight on these dung beetles, I want to introduce you to something very interesting which took place during the course of the year. Steve has a very lovely sighting of the wild dogs.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is so exciting. Coming to you live from Djuma in the Sabi Sands. My name is Steve. I'm joined by VM on camera. We have just found a small family of wild dogs. Here they are. These are the puppies. There's 6 of them. They're running all over the place. We're thinking that the adults have caught, possibly due to the fact that they have a fetus with them, that they have caught an adult female impala, and they have obviously removed the fetus from her belly while they killed her. And the youngsters are running up and down here, playing with it. Well, not really playing with it, but trying to keep it away from each other. Ooh, there's some mounting happening there. That is your brother or sister, young man. There's a bit of dominance that's going on with that puppy. These are 6 little pups, about 6, maybe 7 months at the moment. You can tell that by the fact that the colors are identical to the adults. I haven't seen many wild dogs in my life, and now we're getting to see this spectacular show of affection and love and playfulness and feeding. The adults are about to come in from behind. And here comes one of the adults. She's coming to see what food is left over. This is where a little bit of discipline comes in. Wild dogs can have up to 18 puppies at one go. There's only 6 here. We believe there were probably 7, maybe more before. But the average, probably you're going to look at around between 7 and 10, I would say. That's a kind of average. A little bit of discipline is going on here. The adults are maybe trying to tell them to keep quiet. I'm not quite sure. There's probably the alpha male there. And the one that came to us first is the alpha female. They want to come and see what's going on with the fetus.
Moments like that Steve shared with those wild dogs are to be treasured, as are these magnificent moments live where we get to watch a leopard sleeping in a marula tree while the sun goes down behind him. It doesn't get any better than that. Now, my name is Jamie, and remember that this is completely 100% live, and it is a joy to bring Hosanna back to your screens once again. He is a very special leopard indeed. Now, I said that certain sightings have to be treasured. So do our relationships with these animals and the way in which they interact with each other as well. Now, Rosalind, you want to know how leopards communicate with each other in multiple different ways. So vocally, the most famous being the leopard sawing roar that they make when they are announcing their territorial patrol. They also growl and hiss and that wide range of big cat noises that you would expect. They also communicate through scent. So scent marking bushes by spraying them with urine and then walking along. That's the way in which they advertise to other leopards. Now, Hosanna is not quite at that point where he can advertise a territory. He is only just shy of his 3rd birthday. I think it's about 2 weeks to go. The reason that I know that is because I have known Hosanna personally since he was 2 weeks old. He was just a tiny little bundle. I've watched him grow up. I watched him lose his mother at a very young age, and I am thrilled that he's decided to spend as much time as he has here where we are on Djuma, which is in the Greater Kruger National Park. He is a very special little boy, always up to something, although we find ourselves with sort of a great deal of concern. For the first time, we've seen Hosanna with quite a serious injury, a big hole to his back left leg, which at the moment isn't hampering him, but is definitely causing him a little bit of restlessness. But it bodes well for us because Hosanna is going to be up to all sorts of shenanigans, as he always is, as the night progresses. Now, what that means for you is that you definitely don't go anywhere, because we'll be joining you after the break. Alrighty, for those of you watching on the internet, thank goodness, my old friends. I completely forgot that I wasn't meant to make a noise as soon as I've gone into ad break and went to go take a sip of water, so forgive me. I'm just going to quench some thirst quickly. I do still have 2 drops left of my water bottle from this afternoon, as we melt slowly and fuse to the cars. All right. Well, Hosanna, true to form, gave us a spectacular start to this afternoon or this evening show. Let's send you back across to James, who is going to greet the audiences, lucky them, when they come out of the ad break.
On the interwebs, I'm just going to ask Kirsten a question quickly. Which roll-in are we doing? Sorry, I missed that. That's Kinky Tail you're looking at, by the way. We're supposed to be doing a roll-in after this, but I don't know which one it is. Ah, yes. Kinky Tail getting... Sounds a bit lewd, but we're going to do it anyway. So, Bungay, we're going to open on Kinky Tail, are we? Yep. Right.
Will you be on the dash? Or?
No, I think... Well, where would you like me? Do you want me on the dash? I'll be on the dash. Bungay's just telling me where to be, everybody. How's that? Are you happy with that? I'm not going to shut up. Okay. Welcome back live, everybody, to the Maasai Mara, where the wind is starting to get up. That is Kinky Tail, the lioness you've been looking at over there. Now, she has a very interesting story. She is, of course, the oldest lioness in the Sausage Tree Pride, we think, and we think that she's been leading the pride for some time. Now, she is most certainly pregnant, and her...
Kinky Tail is probably mother to at least one of the Sausage Tree Pride lionesses. Now, nature has decreed that once again she should be a mother. This time with one of the Owino Pride males. Not unusually, the first mating with the new males was unsuccessful. But a second round in October 2018 left her with a slowly swelling belly. With any luck, Kinky Tail's tiny cubs will join the Sausage Tree Pride early in the new year.
So we think that those 2 males, one of those 2 males is going to be the father of Kinky Tail's cubs. That's not Kinky Tail we're looking at now. That's one of the other lionesses and the cubs in the darkness there. Now, very interestingly, we had a good look at the Owino Pride males yesterday evening. One of them has only got 1 testicle, and we don't think that the other one has got any functioning testicles. They seem to have atrophied, and so her pregnancy is something of a miracle. It also has come about in difficult circumstances because there were 3 other males with the pride, 2 of them born to the pride, and another one called Kipuli, who you may remember from earlier episodes. He definitely mated with a lot of the females here in the pride, as did some of the youngsters, so we're not entirely sure who the parents or who the fathers of the 3 cubs you're looking at there are. We're pretty sure that Kinky Tail is pregnant by one of the Owino Pride males, however. And so what is very interesting about the situation here is that the 3 cubs you can see there, 2 of them 5 months old, 1 of them 4 months old, could easily not be the offspring of the dominant male coalition, and that it goes against all kind of textbooks that she will eat. So very interesting stuff. It'd be fascinating to do a paternity test on them. Let's go back to South Africa now, where Jamie Patterson is sitting with, well, probably the star of the show.
We're constantly learning from these animals. They're constantly teaching us that they absolutely do not read the textbook. Hosana being the prime example. He's managed to find himself a dead impala, and although most of it is now gone, he has one very fetid leg that he has dragged right up to the top of this marula tree and is now consuming with considerably more relish than I think most of us would approach such an unpleasant meal. He's got to take what he can get, though, of course, with that nasty injury on his back leg. I still don't think it's going to hamper his hunting. I think he's going to be absolutely fine. I just think it's causing him a little bit of discomfort. Certainly hasn't stopped his tree climbing abilities. Now, while we cannot see him terribly well through the leaves, I'd like to show you something a little bit more about how it is that Hosana came to steal so many hearts and minds.
The little chief Hosana is filling out and supposedly maturing. His dewlap, a flap of skin under his chin, is a sure sign of adulthood. Yet it would seem he is not ready to adopt the dignity and refinement of his father, the Duke. Hosana continues to entertain with the clownish tomfoolery of his youth. His road to maturity is paved with self-made adventure. Tingana, his father, may not tolerate his presence for long. And so, every second with this supreme entertainer is savoured.
And don't you worry, Hosana, there's plenty of time for dignity when you get to be a little bit older. And I personally don't want to see Hosana grow up fully just yet. He is out on his own, though, and fully independent. And you're watching him live from the boughs of a marula tree, where he decided to go right up almost to the point where we could barely see him. Doesn't look like a very comfortable position, but the reason that he's done that is because his disgusting meal has actually attracted a whole load of biting flies. Now, Flomzi, you say Hosana is just amazing and beautiful. He is, isn't he? He really is a very special cat. I don't know if it's a pure force of his personality, or if perhaps it's the fact that we've known him for as long as we have and seen him go through what he's been through. I mentioned that he lost his mother at a very young age. For those of you that haven't heard the story, he lost her when he was around about 14 months old, which is very, very young. Now, speaking of young animals and their dependence on the adults, wild dog pups, of course, are completely dependent on the adults, as Steve saw not so long ago.
There they are. Get you in a nice position, nice and open up here. There they are, busy playing. They're actually begging again. The not so alpha of the adults. Please give us some food, please. So you can see that will eventually get very irritating. And that's why they're not doing it to the alphas. The alphas will discipline them. So it's to sort of the subordinate males. They're begging and begging and begging. Only the alpha female will breed in this pack. Oh, listen to them squealing. This is so incredible to see. There we go. Regurgitated some. That is what the begging leads to. But eventually that begging just becomes too much, and then the adults have to say, enough. That is my meal. And that is why the adults are in a constant search for food. As these growing youngsters get bigger, the demand for food increases. And then off they go once again. as good little wild dogs do. Let's continue on, see if we can keep up with these dogs.
What a great wild dog sighting. Steve has been so very lucky. I love the wild dogs, but here I am still by the western side live of the Kruger National Park Sabi Sands Juma Game Reserve, still witnessing the dung beetles showing off here at the moment. And I can promise you the dung beetles and the wild dogs, there's something here which could happen. If the wild dogs comes here and eat, so if the Kathy, what a lovely question. The dung beetles can roll very big balls. In talking in terms of the strength, the dung beetles is one of the very strong animals in the whole of animal kingdom. Yes, the elephants, they are the largest animals, but talking in terms of the strength to ratio, dung beetles, they can be able to pull something which is 1,000 multiplied by their body weight. Interesting, isn't it? So these kind of dung beetles don't drive over the elephant dungs as well as the rhino maidens, because the elephant dungs and rhino maidens, they are the preferences of the dung beetles. And if you kill them, you are going to disturb, because these are the dung beetles who are responsible to prepare the soil for seeds germination. For us to get hold of all these trees in the bush, dung beetles, they play a significant role. So now we are going to leave the dung beetles at the moment and see if we can find you something very interesting. Oh, this is amazing. An amazing fight is still taking place there, you can see. So you can see now one of the balls is coming out. Look at how powerful is this. So while I am waiting to see what is going to happen, please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We will be back right now. So you can see that these dung beetles are pushing that ball. I think so far, from what I have seen, this is the smallest ball I have seen. These dung beetles are coming out of these droppings with very big balls. And when rolling the balls starts to collect quite a lot of sand. And because of that, suddenly it becomes a very huge ball. So you see it at the beginning, small as it is, but at the end, it's going to be a very big ball. So now let's cross over to James by the Maasai Mara, who is having the lovely king of the jungle.
Hello everybody on the internet. Here we are with our lions. The Sausage Tree Pride is now moving. And I must just extend once again a very heartfelt and grateful thanks to all of you who are our sort of loyal supporters on the internet, and the I suppose those sitting on the grandstands, in the season ticket holders, if you like. We appreciate your support and thank you for being with us through this hour, which is not a trial, but it does make us a little bit nervous, of course. I don't know where these lions are going. I'm hoping, against hope, that they're going to take us down towards where the cubs are, the new cubs. One of them in front's just sat down, actually. And I don't think Kinky Tail is with them. No, in fact, Kinky Tail has stayed behind. Has she? 1, 2 cubs. Yeah, she stayed behind. Probably also laying down. 40 seconds to TV, everybody. Don't worry, don't be nervous. We've all done this before. We'll be okay. Are you happy here, Bungay? Okay. Is that a cub? I can't tell. No, it's a mother. Okay, thank you. Right, everybody, we're going to be quiet now. Welcome back live, everybody, to the Maasai Mara in Kenya. Please do talk to us. Keep remembering to talk to us using the hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter. Your questions and your comments always much appreciated. And so you can get them going to me right now if you want to know anything about the Sausage Tree Pride. Here is the Sausage Tree Pride. They've moved on from where they were, and what I'm hoping they're going to do is take us down towards this beautiful stream along which they live most of their time, and maybe, just maybe, they're going to introduce us to the new cubs in the Sausage Tree Pride. We're pretty convinced one of the lionesses who is not here has given birth somewhere in this stream, hopefully not in the water, but in a secluded overhang, perhaps with a picturesque fig tree shielding her little ones. So that's what we're hoping is going to happen over here. While we wait to see what happens there, we do know that the Sausage Tree Pride is sustaining itself largely on buffalo meat at the moment. During the migration, that is not the case, and Kinky Tail had a wonderful time hunting the herds a few months ago.
We are out in the middle of the bush with the Sausage Tree Pride. There's a huge herd of wildebeest that's just started running in this direction. She is looking intent on catching herself a wildebeest this morning. So we're trying to keep our distance. We don't want to interfere, but we also don't want to miss a second. Kinky Tail is right at the front. She's leading the charge. The wildebeest are running through, so we're going to try to put ourselves in a position where we can see exactly what happens. This is so exciting. I have been missing spending time with my favorite pride of lions and the gorgeous Kinky Tail.
Kinky Tail is the oldest lioness in the Sausage Tree Pride, and she is their center. She is easily recognized by her broken tail. Her wealth of experience is extremely valuable, especially on the hunt for dangerous prey. She understands the techniques to kill. And is fiercely protective of her pride. But her gentleness is as profound as her ferocity. Kinky Tail is the epitome of a successful Mara lioness.
Isn't that incredible? Look at that predatory stealth. The wildebeest haven't seen her yet. She is sneaking through the long grass. This grass is providing her with the ideal spot to approach the herds from. She's only about 60 or 70 meters away. You can see some zebra in the background there. The times of plenty have truly arrived for the Sausage Tree Pride as the poor prey species continue to run a constant gauntlet of tooth and claw.
The Sausage Tree Pride have faced some extraordinary triumphs and tragedies in their time, but they've always done so together, where leopards are all by themselves. Now we're back live with one such leopard. His name is Hosanna, as I have mentioned, and you'll notice that he is now in black and white. That is because once the sun goes down here in South Africa, and of course as well in the Maasai Mara with James, we switch to using infrared light so that we do not disturb the animals, so they cannot see the light that we are using, neither can we as human beings, so it doesn't impact their goings-on in any way. Now, I mentioned that Hosanna is injured. Just because he's lying down nicely now, it gives me the opportunity to point out where that injury is. It's right there at the join between his upper thigh and his abdomen. So when he bends his knee, because leopards have quite loose skin, When he bends his knee, he actually pulls that injury open. We don't know exactly what happened. It was probably something that occurred while he was hunting, something like a warthog potentially, but we really don't know for absolute certain. Yes, gravity, yes, absolutely. You say it must be hot. Is that why he is breathing so fast? It is indeed boiling hot here, and it's not just Hosanna who's feeling the effects. I am as well. We are slowly melting into the seats of the vehicle. It's close to, today felt like it went over 40 degrees centigrade, so it is very warm. It's also very humid and very sweaty. I think he's also panting because the wound is slightly infected. So I think he has a little bit of an increased temperature this afternoon, which, as most of you know, is very unpleasant when you're not feeling very well to then also be hot on top of it. But he can't sweat, which means that he has to pant in order to cool down. Now, cats pant when it's nice and hot like this, and when they're flat. Wild dogs are always busy, which means lots and lots of panting, but lots of excitement for Steve.
Yes, well, we've managed to follow them again, and we crossed the drainage line, and they indeed are on an impala. There was a tawny eagle and a battalier eagle that was on this kill, and we're not quite sure. I mean, this is surely the animal that the wild dogs killed, and then something might have spooked them, and maybe because they got pups, they moved off. Sorry about my head there. It's definitely a female impala, so this is where they got the fetus from. And the youngsters are coming one at a time. They're quite tentative, in fact, to approach the kill. Look how they're all a little bit standoffish, really. I think they're used to being provided with the meat. They're used to having the meat chewed off and then regurgitated for them. I feel like I want to move. Can I move, E? Mum and Dad are not going to cut their food for them anymore, indeed. Let me just move a little bit to the side here. We might get a better view. Tell me when you're happy. How's that? Is that better? Okay, there we go. So it's very interesting. I mean, it's the puppies are used to getting food, but they're not quite sure where it comes from. So this animal that's lying on the floor, well, that is not what provides food. For them, food is... that's regurgitated from the mouth. Let's just listen to a little bit and see how this unfolds.
Welcome back live, everybody. We've got a very interesting situation here. The Sausage Tree Pride seems to be on the hunt. Well, two of them anyway. Look at them. That's the one lioness. The other one, I can't actually see at the moment. She's headed off just over to the right-hand side of where this one is. Now, obviously, for them to successfully hunt, especially buffalo, two lionesses is not normally enough. But that doesn't seem to be worrying them at all. There comes the other one. They've smelt something on this wind. Now, this is a very good time to answer Junior Bio's question about whether or not lions can go a day without eating food. Junior, yes, they absolutely can. There's another pride up north called the Owino Pride, and they have been out without a meal, we think, for about a week now. So yes, lions will gorge themselves, and then they will often sit for days without eating. Now the wind is coming down off the escarpment. It's blowing straight into the noses of these cats. I'm not convinced they use the wind purposely very often, but I think they have picked something up on the wind here. And we did see some buffalo in this area earlier. I have seen some reedbuck in this area earlier. So there could be anything just on the banks of this little stream in front of us. The fact that the cubs are still there is going to be a hindrance to any hunt, of course, because they're too young to make any contribution, and they're quite likely to make a hash of it. They'll make a noise or growl or start playing at the moment critique, which is what we don't want. Now they're heading down into that little drainage system. We'll try and follow them. You're going to go for a very short break. Please don't go anywhere. The Sausage Tree Pride is now on the hunt. All right, everybody on the interweb, the Sausage Tree Pride is behaving quite nicely for us. I'm going to move a little bit forward, try and keep an eye on them. We don't want to light them up, but at the same time we don't want to drive into a large donga. Kirsten is speaking to me constantly in my ear about this and that, what I must and mustn't do, what I should and shouldn't do. A barrage of instructions, all of them valid, unfortunately. Kinky Tail's been dropped. Oh, she hasn't been dropped. I don't think she's up for hunting. She's way back. And the cubs have been... Oh, that's interesting. The cubs have now gone off to the right. And we've got 90 seconds to TV to position ourselves and hope that these things do not... No, they've got a little bit before they hit the drainage line. Please excuse the wonky picture. We have to keep the camera on them because obviously that's where the infrared light is. It's pitch black out here, and so we can't see without the infrared unless I light them up with a spotlight, which is obviously not ideal while they're hunting. Now the lioness we called Limpy, the one who is the mother of the small cub, appears to have lost her limp. Neither of these two are limping, which is very inconvenient for someone like me because I am horrendous at recognizing animals. All right, and Bungay, the other one is just over here, right next to us. There she is, smelling the wind, smelling the wind. 20 seconds to TV, everybody. Calm down, take a deep breath, we'll all be all right. Welcome back live, everybody. The two mothers are still on the hunt. Kinky Tail is behind us somewhere. I think that very full belly that she's got, full of 3 or 4 cubs, hopefully soon to be born, is precluding her participation in this hunt. Now, let's quickly go back and see what's going on. There's one of them. She's definitely sniffing and perhaps hoping her sister's going to chase something towards her. Her sister is in front of us. Let's see if we can still see her. There she is. She's sitting down in front of us. Bungay, if we can have a quick look at her. There she is. Well spotted. You got her. Now, while we wait for this to unfold, let us go back and find out about Kinky Tail's hunt on the wildebeest herd.
This is exciting. The rest of the pride have stayed way behind, and Kinky Tail's out by herself, probably 400 meters from the other girls, trying to catch herself a wildebeest. A strong wind will be helping her to cover her approach. She's getting very close. Now remember, guys, this could be quite graphic and is not for sensitive viewers. Sometimes these kills can be quite traumatic. Look at that, isn't this incredible? Now she's just, there she is. She's so close to those wildies now. She's gonna burst out of the grass at any second. She's waiting now for the rest of that herd to come. They're coming. Is she gonna go for a young one, or is she going to go for an adult? There they come. It's a young one by itself. That's almost ideal for a lion.
This is what made me to leave the dung beetles, as I picked up a sound of some of the branches breaking and come here to investigate. This is what I found. Look at these buffaloes. It's a bachelor herd. I can see they're all males here. It's a group of the darker boys. The darker boys are those big and old males amongst these herds, which normally isolate themselves, and you find them doing some mud wallowing. Mud wallowing is when the animal is rolling on mud just to pick up the mud, to use the mud as a cream to prevent sunburn. So it has been very hot this afternoon. That is why these animals are now trying to cool their bodies. So the buffalo heads, mostly in front, they are led by the pathfinders. The pathfinders is those ones who mostly eat the preferable fresh grass. So you will see them growing big, bigger than the rest, because they are responsible to defend the troop, a group of buffaloes. You can call it a gang, you can call it a troop of buffaloes. And while we are here, let me just give you a little bit of highlights. Something has been happening. We hear the lions making some roar not very far away from where we are. And normally, lions get attracted by the buffaloes. Katlego, re leboga potso ya gago. The buffaloes, they are not disturbed by the vehicle at all. Something you must remember is that these wild animals, when we are in this kind of a vehicle, they see us and the vehicle as one object. It's very much quite difficult for the animals to detect if there is human beings inside. Only if we start to move our hands rapidly is then that they will be able to see that there is something in the car. But while remaining seated, it's difficult for an animal to pick up our presence. You can see they are very much relaxed in that little water hole. This water hole has been dug by the elephants. Elephants, normally they use their legs in order to dig, and suddenly this becomes a big water hole during the rainy season. So now, while I'm waiting to see if the lions, I hear the roaring, if they're coming to this direction, let's quickly go back to Jamie, who still has got Hosanna.
Well, the one thing we can say for absolute certain is that Hosanna is definitely not up to the task of tackling a buffalo this evening. It is far too large for him and could do some serious damage. His restlessness has continued, and he has made his way to the edge of the waterhole where he is now taking a moment to drink. And I'm just going to sit quietly for a few seconds so you can enjoy the sounds of the frogs, because it's beautiful. Isn't that absolutely stunning? It's one of my favorite things about this time of year, and spending time during the evening out in the bush is listening to all the various sounds. A leopard drinking, of course, is quite high up on the list. Now, high up on the list of things that people want to see when they go on safari is, of course, the wild dogs. And it's time to finish off Steve's tale of the puppies.
There you go, the puppies are learning. What is that? Listen to the bones being broken now. Such a difference between wild dog and a lion, for example. Oh, this one is more interested in a stick. Here we go. Let's play with the stick. Difference between wild dog is there's this excitement about the kill. There's no aggression towards each other. They all come in and they feed, they eat at leisure, eat as quick, well, not at leisure, eat as quickly as they can, but there's no aggression, no competition, really. It's all for the greater good of the family. Whereas the competition in lions is what makes them stronger. Fantastic. So very interesting how the puppies were tentative, and now they're all on the kill. We saw them competing with that fetus earlier. They weren't playing very nicely with the fetus. They weren't sharing. The alpha female is doing a bit of disciplinary action at the moment. This is very, very, very special. I know I've said that a number of times, but it's very special to be able to see this in the wild, to see it live, see it with our own eyes, and for the dogs to allow us this opportunity. I feel very blessed.
Welcome back live. We are obviously still in the Maasai Mara. I haven't magicked myself somewhere else. We're still with the Sausage Tree Pride, and the cubs are now rejoining the parents, or the two mothers. I think that the mothers thought there was a warthog in the termite mound just on my right-hand side, but there doesn't appear to have been a warthog there. They're sitting on the termite mound where they thought the warthog was living, and now the cubs are rejoining them. Essex, it's one of the greatest misconceptions of lion behavior that the males always hang around with the pride. So what normally happens is that a male lion, or coalition of male lions, certainly that's the case here with the Owino Pride males, they have a territory, and in their territory they'll have a number of prides. So in the case of the Owino Pride, we think it's this pride, the Sausage Tree Pride, and also a pride known as the Border Pride. But this is the case in South Africa as well. For example, you've met the Owino Pride on some previous episodes. They fall under the ambit of the Avoca males, and the Avoca males have got 3 or 4 prides within their territory. And so the males are not always with the pride. They are often with other members of the pride. Otherwise, they'll be out marking territory somewhere else, scavenging from other hunters. They're tremendously good scavengers. And so it's actually more common to see the pride without the males than it is to see the pride with the males. And, you know, it's just a great misconception that male lions are always with the pride, perpetuated largely, of course, by The Lion King, which was a wonderful movie of almost no biological value whatsoever. Oh, there's some elephants shouting off towards the left of the car. Now, I'm hoping these little cubs are going to pop up onto the termite mound and start playing with the mothers, but I think the mothers may have warned them off. Certainly they seem to manage somehow to send them away as they headed off towards this termite mound to try and hunt. I don't think the hunt is over. I think these two cats, although they ate a buffalo yesterday, are still hungry, so I think they're going to carry on hunting. So don't go anywhere. Now, as you can see, loyal internet followers, these lions do precisely what you don't want them to. So I've just told the audience that they are definitely going to go hunting. And as I say that, they lie down and go to sleep. Right, let's go around the other side of this termite mound and see if we can find them the other side. Let's just go around here. Got 1 minute to see if we can get a view of the cubs as well. They've gone where? Back there? With Kinky. Do you think they've gone back to Kinky Tail? Bungay thinks they've gone back to Kinky Tail. Entirely possible. No, there they are. That's great. We'll have a nice view of them here. How's that? Happy? Phew. I'm going to be quiet now. Welcome back, everybody. We're still here with the Sausage Tree Pride, and they did exactly what I said that they wouldn't do. They've gone to sleep. But luckily the cubs have rejoined them. Let's go back to where they are there, the 3 cubs and the 2 beautiful mothers of the Sausage Tree Pride. Unfortunately, they have decided that they are, in fact, full enough of buffalo, and maybe they'll hunt a little bit later. But for now, it's time for a bit of play. While they are calm and collected and having a little bit of a very adorable snuggle, I know that Brent Leo Smith left you on a cliffhanger recently, so let's go and find out which way the hunt went.
We're not sure exactly where she is. We know she's somewhere between us and the wildebeest. We don't want to move the... There she goes. We can't see her. She's got one. Whoa, she's got it. She's got it. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's get in there. Wasn't that incredible? Look at that. That was amazing. She's got it. Kinky Tail is the queen of the sausage tree pride, showing she doesn't even need the rest of the pride to help her bring down. I've just got to be careful, there are some big rocks in this area. She's gone for a young one, it's still up. Oh, just remember, this is not for sensitive viewers. Sometimes this can be quite disturbing. There we go, Kinky Tail has got that little wildy, born this year, but is not going to make it to next year's migration. Wasn't that absolutely amazing how she snuck right up to that long line of wildebeest, waited for the exact moment to choose the right wildebeest, and she has now got herself some breakfast.
So a fascinating thing to watch there, but at the same time, I'm sure for many of you, quite disturbing. Now, the migration season is likened, I think, best to a drunken carnival, basically. The lions behave in a manner completely different from the way that they behave now. They leave their territories quite often. They do come back to them periodically, but they will go outside their territories. They hunt alone quite a lot, as you saw Kinky Tail doing there. And often, the hunting doesn't seem to be related to hunger. We've seen another pride of lions, the Salt Lake Pride, kill 6 or 7 wildebeest in the space of 20 minutes and not eat one of them. They seem to be just enjoying the hunt. It's so easy for them to hunt during the migration, especially as dusk falls and the wind starts to blow and the rain starts to fall. Well, calling from Africa, that is an excellent question about whether or not a heavily pregnant lioness will hunt. The short answer is yes, because she has to, because she can't eat otherwise. And so, yes, she will hunt. However, her hunting will become less and less enthusiastic, and if she's got a pride that will hunt, she will scavenge off them more and more rather than hunt herself. One of the reasons that the predator's cubs or puppies are born so altricial, so helpless, so blind, and so small, is that the mother does need to be able to hunt to provide herself with food right up until they're born. And so they have to be tiny so that she can hunt. You can imagine a human being trying to hunt or do exercise between 7 and 9 months pregnancy is absolutely impossible. And so that's one of the reasons that the babies are born so tiny. Alrighty, while we wait and see what the Sausage Tree Pride gets up to do, let's go back to the great chief of Djuma.
So while James waits it out, we've been doing exactly the same thing just halfway across the African continent with Hosanna. But it seems as though he's decided finally that it's time for a proper sleep. And I think that's probably because the temperature's dropped just enough so that he can settle in and find himself more comfortable, particularly with an injury that probably is causing him quite a fair bit of pain. So there he is, stretched out on the soft grasses around the water's edge. The night sounds here are just overwhelming. It's amazing how during our dry winter season, the bush is barren, bare and silent. And then all of a sudden, just a few drops of rain, it comes back to life. Anna says that she loves how superstar Hosanna never fails to show up for our TV shows. I think he got a taste of the limelight very young, Anna, and he just knows when it's time to make a special appearance, because Hosanna has always been thoroughly dependable, which is not a word that you generally associate with leopards. The Sausage Tree Pride, I have to tell you, haven't been doing too badly either in terms of their TV appearances. James is with them now for the end of this extraordinary safari.
Well, Kinky Tail is back with the pride, and look how difficult she's finding moving. Her belly is so full of cub, a little bit of buffalo, but just cub. You can see she must be about to pop. I don't think they are far from where the other lioness has given birth. And maybe in the next minute or so we'll be very, very lucky. They're all sort of leapfrogging each other very slowly towards towards the stream, and naturally now they are going to lie down. Here come the cubs. 3 of them, like I say, 2 5 months old, 1 4 months old, all males. And so they will form a little coalition one day. Probably not such a little coalition, probably quite a formidable coalition. Cabello, your comment is that Kinky Tail is a badass. Kinky Tail Cabello is most certainly a badass. To get to that age as a lioness, you've got to be a badass. Most lions, of course, don't make it to anything close to that age. They are probably about 1 in 8 to 1 in 10 in some cases make it to adulthood. So Kinky Tail is not only a badass adult lion, she's a badass of badasses, basically. Just see, they don't seem to be moving. I'm just going to scan in front of me to see if maybe one of the others is going to pop out of the thick bush fringing this beautiful stream in front of me, but I don't see anything happening there. And the little cubs perhaps looking forward to meeting their new cousins. Must be so exciting. That little one is looking for something to eat, hoping to have some milk. They will only wean at about 6 to 7 months, so although they've been eating buffalo over the last 24 hours or so, they will still seek out milk from mum. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for this end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your questions and comments. We will see you at the same time in the same place next week, 6:30 p.m. on SABC3. Until then, have a great week. Bye-bye.